Hello friends, it is Saturday. I am at the Fantasy Festival. I forgot to check in this morning. I forgot to check in when I get here. I was in a hurry. I spent 20 minutes finding a parking spot, and so I couldn't really get to film any of the opening speech as I did last year, because I was too far back that I wouldn't be able to get any good footage. So yeah, right now I'm soon going to be going to the first reading panel thing with Jakob Stegelmann, who is like my favorite, one of my childhood heroes, if you will. He's the reason, he's one of the main factors that main people who brought nerd culture to Denmark. I'm just gonna say it like that. He has this TV show thing where he does reviews of video games, science fiction and fantasy movies and films and TV series and animated movies and all of these other things. And I used to watch it all the time as a kid, and it's still here, but mostly in a podcast form, I think. So I'm looking forward to seeing that because he is good at talking about things. So yeah, that's the first thing I have to do at 11:30. So yeah, I'll talk to you later. Bye. I haven't bought anything yet, but bye.
Så kører man ind i en ond spiral, der ender med at afsløre en som værende et fuldstændig verdenfjernt talentløst menneske, som burde sidde alene derhjemme og forholde sig i ro, ikke også? Og det er måske også rigtigt nok om nogen af os. Men alligevel, så er det jo fuldstændig åndssvagt, fordi når man interesserer sig for eventyr, er det fordi man interesserer sig for virkeligheden, for verden, for det hele. Der er så nogen, der siger, der er psykologer, der siger, at man skal passe på, fordi man skal ikke leve i flere forskellige verdener på én gang. Man skal sørge for at holde sig til nuet og i virkeligheden. Og har de nogensinde kigget på, hvor kedelig virkeligheden er? Og til siger de ting. Det korte er, at man er nødt til at forstå virkeligheden, og det gør man med hjælp af fantasi. Og det kan godt være, at der er nogen, der tænker, hvordan forstår I virkeligheden ved at gennemleve Harry Potters tegn? Hvordan forstår I den ved at forstå eller høre på Gollum? Jo, det er jo virkelighed. Gollum for eksempel er jo for mig at se et mig. Altså, ligesom Artan er mig, ligesom Superman er mig nogle meget få dage. Det går da langt af, at vi er de figurer, og de er et billede på os, og de er en version af os, og vi kan bruge dem til at forstå os selv. Det vil aldrig lykkes helt, det ved vi. For så mærkelige er vi mennesker jo, men vi kan komme et lille stykke af vejen. Og fantasy-genren er bare genial til det, og den rækker så vidt, den kan så mange fantastiske ting. Så det er mit forsvar, når folk spørger mig og synes, jeg skal forsvare mig. Heldigvis skal vi ikke forsvare så meget mere. Da vi for mange år siden...
Friends, it is now a little bit later, about 2:15 to be exact. I have an hour or so before I have to go and see Peely Bread. I just went to load off the car with the things that I've bought. I've only bought 3 books so far. It's not that bad, but it's heavy to carry around, so I just decided that now I need to load off and then I'll go back. And I just brought back my water, so because when we were watching the show or whatever you call it by Jakob Stegelmann, it was so incredibly hot, and I was so sad I didn't have any water or something. I was also extremely hungry, but I've had some lunch and I bought 3 things now, so it's not that bad, and I will look at more things when I get back. It's just it's really hot inside, but it's too cold outside to not wear a jacket, so I don't know. We'll see how it ends up going. Right now I'm a little bit tired. Anyway, this is my update now. I'll talk to you later. Bye.
TV, from movies, from my life experiences, and so there's a wide variety of things that any writer draws upon, because you might have one big idea for your story, but it's all the little ideas that get you there. And without all of those little ideas, that one big idea isn't really that useful. You can tell, you know, a room full of writers, write me a story about wizarding school, and you're going to get a different, every one of them is going to write something different, and very few of them are going to be Harry Potter. And so I don't want people to think that there's a trick to it. There really isn't. The only trick is sitting down and getting to work and writing. For me personally though, for the first book of my series, The Painted Man, I had been working on a magic system for a long time, and the magic system involved these magical symbols called wards that would hold demons back, sort of like
Hello friends, it is now 5:45, so 5:45, and I just checked in at my room at the hotel. I like there's like a little painting in the back. I'm so tired right now, but I wanted to share with you what I've bought today, because I did get quite a few things. And I'm gonna show them to you. I definitely bought a lot of books that wasn't planned, but I don't know what I expected to find exactly. I was hoping to find Storm Curse by Patricia Briggs in the edition that I have, but I didn't, so I'm going to buy that when I get back home. But the first thing I got was from Carlsen's publishing house. Actually, there are two things in here. I bought myself a copy of The Collected Saga Volume 2. This is the one with my favorite volumes. Volumes 4 and 5 is my favorites, and so I thought it was a good one to buy. I have the first one on my wish list for my birthday, which is on Thursday next week. So we'll see if I get the first one, because they were only quite cheap for this. Considering it's a graphic work and it contains 3 volumes of Valhalla. Yeah, and the next thing that I got was by the publishing table stand, or whatever you want to call it. Beside them there was a book release or something. There's just been a book release by an author I haven't heard of before, but it sounded intriguing. And so it was signed by the author. This book called Pandora Volcano Winter is the Danish title is Vulkan Vinter, which means volcano winter. And the author was really nice, so that was also a bonus point. The next thing that I got was from this publishing house, which is called Turbine, or Turbine if you want to speak in English. I got a little bit of a book package. First things, I finished Roses and Violets today, so I decided to get myself a copy of it myself, because I really enjoyed it, and it's just such a beautiful copy. When you would have the dust jacket of it, it is the same cover underneath, so that's really nice. But then it also has the dust jacket, which is also really pretty, and it looks very nice if you see the spines. And I just like how gloomy it is. And the author was at the stand when I was talking to her, and I was just randomly saying I wanted to buy the book because I just finished it. And she was really happy, and she signed it for me as well. So that was nice. Alongside that, she also gave me this one, which I think it's just a notepad, which is going to be super handy when I'm soon finished with a notebook. It's nice to have a new one I can use for tracking my reading, so I'm really happy about that. And it's also pretty. And then I got a bookmark along with it as well, which is about the book as well. And then I also got another bookmark for another book that I've been interested in, and I'm still pondering whether I should buy it. So if I still feel like it tomorrow, I might buy it as well. But it is about a ship that sails around the world and experiences different things. It's called The Calling from Galathea, and it's also it was just released recently on the 28th of August. So I'm happy about that. Then, as I said, I decided to go and put down the books that I had because the hardbacks are really heavy, so I couldn't deal with it. But then when I got back, I was like, what if I have to sit around and wait around for a while? I haven't thought so much ahead that I also brought a book, because if I want to sit down and have a quiet time and read a book, I need a book. So I got into a stand where I bought a couple of books. And it's all books that I've heard of and all of the books I'm interested in. This one I've actually already started. I read the first chapter. So yeah, and it's These Witches Don't Burn by Isabel Sterling, and it's about a witch living in Salem, Massachusetts, and sort of, it sounds pretty interesting. I hope it's not gonna be too contemporary-ish, but yeah, I don't know. It seems like a fun book, and it follows a main protagonist who is a lesbian, so I also really enjoyed that. And it's not about the coming out story. She's like gay from the first moment, and I'm happy about that, because a lot of time when it comes to be about LGBT scenarios, it's always about the coming out story and not just about people being gay. And this one is just about this girl. She is gay, and that's just how it is, and it's just part of the story. It's not something that is spent a lot of time thinking about and talking about, and I think that's nice. Another thing that I got was a Black Magic, Black Wing by Ed McDonald. This is a book that I've seen floating around, so I think it might be a little bit darker, and I am interested in reading something dark soon-ish. I've never read anything by Ed McDonald before, but I believe I remember Kitty G talking about these books. And then I got a book that I've already read, but I want to own my own copy of it, and that is Good Omens by Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett. I had the option of choosing between this one and the black one, and the black one is just all over the place, and I was like, and then I'll get the white one because it is not as dominant as the other one, but they are like the same. They were the same size and the same image on the cover, so I was like, yeah. But this is such a great book, and I wanted to own my own copy of it so I can reread it at one point. And the final book that I got in that haul was City of Stairs by Robert Jackson Bennett. I'm a little sad I didn't get the large paperbacks that rematches my copy of Foundryside, but if I can get this one in this trilogy in this size, and then Foundryside series in the other one, it's okay. I really enjoyed the first one, and I enjoyed how he built up his magic systems, so I'm really intrigued to read something more from him. And so sometime soon I'll be digging into this one. And they put a couple of things that I haven't looked at yet into the bag as well, which was a bookmark from the brand. Fantastic is the name. A little booklet about them as a brand, I guess. They have a big shop in Copenhagen, which I'm a little bit jealous of. Next, the thing that happened, then I went and watched Peter B. Brett, who was really interesting to listen to. I've never read anything by Peter B. Brett, so I took a little bit of a chance, but I'm really happy I went and saw him, because then I went for another buying splurge, and what I ended up buying was the complete 5-book series, which is called The Demon Cycle, I think. The first one is called The Warded Man. I also have seen this as called The Painted Man, I think. But I really want to read it, especially now. I was already hooked on the series before, but I definitely am even more intrigued now after hearing his talk about the books and how he wrote the characters and the world it's set in and all of that. It sounds like something, it sounds dark, but it sounds very intriguing as well. The second book is called The Desert Spear, and the third one is The Daylight War, and The Skull Throne, which is the fourth one. And the final one is called The Core, also by Peter B. Brett. So I'm really looking forward to reading these. It's funny how the first ones are sort of rough, papery, and the three last ones, they're really, really slippery. The last and final thing that I also bought today is another one I got because first this has been recommended to me by Kirsten from Leslie Smith Fantasy. So I obviously was already intrigued, but then I went to and sort of read a little bit about the books, and it seems very interesting. And then the man working at the stand asked me if I'd heard about the books before, and I was like, yes, I had heard about from a friend. They were recommended to me, and he asked if I knew Robin Hobb. I was like, well, yes, that's like my favorite author. I was like, all right, because then I think you might really enjoy them, because I have read both Robin Hobb and this one, and they really, really seemed similar. So I got, it's called Væddermændenes. These animals, I forgot what they're called. That word and men's night. I will check up on it. But it's by Tobias Stenbæk Bro. He wasn't at the stand when I was there, so I didn't get them signed because he was out for coffee, I was told. But I got a 2-book bundle deal, and I better get both of them because this one was just released recently. I feel like it was just published the other day when I saw this pop up on their on the publisher's Instagram, but I might be wrong, but that's what I feel like. And so I got these 2 very new books, and I'm happy that finally there are some fantasy that is more focused on the adult fantasy genre in Denmark, because a lot of the Danish fantasy I see around is intended for a younger audience, like young adults or middle grade. Not that there's anything wrong with that, I just wish there was more adult fantasy around in the Danish publishing industry. But I think that the generation of fantasy readers has changed a little bit in the recent years. It's been more, it's become more accepted to be a fantasy reader than it has been in recent years. Because I definitely remember a time when if I told people that I read a lot of fantasy, they would be looking at me weirdly, and I don't in the same way as much any longer. So yeah, but I'm really looking forward to reading this. The second one is called the Path of the Blood, of the Bloody Path, or something like that. But I'm looking forward to reading both, and they're not that long. I like the fact that these 2 books are not the longest fantasy books in the history in the making. I don't mind that not all fantasy books needs to be 800 pages to be worthy. I think it's nice that sometimes the books are only like 300 pages and then you are done with the book. As long as I'm entertained, I don't really care. So yeah, I feel like I have a quite large excessive haul again. But I'm happy with all of the things that I bought, and I'm looking forward to reading them. I'm glad that 2 of the books, 3 of the things I've already read, so it goes straight to my read shelf. And next week, when I have some days off, I'm planning on trying to get a little bit of a new system going with my books, so that I can rearrange things and hopefully have more room for the books that I have bought and books that are gonna be read soon, because I have a lot of books that I'm working on and books that I've finished, but I don't have room for them on my shelf right now, and it's annoying. But now that I might have a system, a solution that could work, but we'll see how it goes. Yeah, this was my update for now. I will possibly talk to you later. Right now I am planning on just relaxing for a little bit before I go and find something for dinner. Tomorrow I have to go to a vlogger event in the morning. I have a notice about it. I was really like last minute added to this event because I sort of almost missed it, but I'm happy I know Kirsten, so she got me she made sure that there was room for me on the list, and I quickly added myself to it, and I'm looking forward to seeing what it's all going to be about, and hopefully meet some other people that loves books as much as me. And Kirsten's going to be there as well. I talked to her today for like, I think we talked for like half an hour, and it was really nice. But obviously she's also working, so she had to go back to work, and that's fair. Otherwise I think we could have been standing there talking for ages. And I also have asked her if she had time to eat dinner with me, because that way it wouldn't be so, I would have something to do. Not that I mind being on my own here in that way. Obviously it could have been a lot more fun if I was with someone, so when I go out to eat, that people don't look at me weirdly, but because that's like the main issue. Like if you go to some place for dinner and you're out on your own, people look weirdly at you. I don't mind eating out on my own. I mean, I don't need to be around others to enjoy my dinner. But the way that people look at you is what is possibly the reason why I don't do it very often. But yeah, she is going to this event with all of the people working at the event are going out for a combined dinner thing. So she couldn't go, she said it was really sad, because she would really have loved to, but then we decided that at another time we need to do a meetup. But I'm so tired. I feel like I have been up since like god awful hour or something, but I woke up at 7, I would say, which is not that early. It's early for a Saturday, but it's not that early, but I feel like I was up at like 4. This was my update. I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Min moster, hun sagde engang til mig. Jo, jeg tror, jeg var lige debuteret, og man får også ris. Man får ikke kun roser. Og lige i starten er det sådan lidt, okay. Og så en hader min bog, og så alle hader den, og den er bare mega. Og så er de 20 gode anmeldelser, man har fået, de er bare pludselig sådan lidt luft, og den der ene, den er bare tung. Og der siger min moster til mig, Emilie, du skal blive ved med at skrive, fordi du er med til at give folk noget farve i en grå hverdag. Og det har virkelig fulgt mig at sige det her, fordi det er jo virkelig noget...
Altså udgangspunktet var så at tage fat i de uhyggelige og grusomme, og dem er der altså bare nogle stykker af.
Inden vi snakker videre om det hele og tankerne bag, kunne I læse lidt højt, bare sådan at hvis der er nogen, der ikke har læst den, kan få lidt en følelse af, hvad det er, vi snakker om?
Ja, det kan vi godt. Men jeg tænkte, det er måske meget godt at tage en, som vi kender, fordi at den giver måske også et godt indtryk af, hvad det lidt er, vi har prøvet. Altså, hvordan vi sådan er gået til de her historier. Og man siger, Grimms eventyr det er jo fortalte historier, som folk har siddet og fortalt, og så har Grimm på et tidspunkt skrevet dem ned, og selv begyndt at skrive dem lidt om, og måske også gjort dem efterhånden selv lidt mere børnevenlige, end de var i starten. Og det betyder også, at tit de historier, de er måske lidt mere, Grimms eventyr, sådan lidt flade. Altså, de hedder også tit ikke noget, de har tit ikke noget navn, altså så hedder pigen, jamen hun er jo så bare pigen, hun har ikke noget navn. Lige Hans og Grete skiller jo så ud.
Fantasy Festival is now over for me and I'm on my way back to my car. I hope it's not too shaky, but I feel like it is. Yeah, I think I decided to go now before I decide to buy more books, because it seems all the time near the mess hall I buy more books. I have two here, which is a lie, because there's another book that I also bought in the same series to get the best discount possible. So I'm looking forward to getting home. I'm really tired, but I'm happy I went again. It was great. The events that I went to were all pretty good. It's also always these subjects and that I find super interesting, but they're at the same time I'm at another event, so I never get to see everything that I want to, so hopefully another time. But yeah, this is been fun. I think I'm going to try and talk about my books that I bought today when I get back home, because I have a lot of them in the trunk in the back of the car, so I feel like I'm gonna wait, but I hope I remember to do that when I get back. Otherwise I'll be doing a separate book haul for the Fantasy Festival books that I bought. And now I'm not gonna buy more books this year. I don't think I need to. I have so many books now, and so many books from fantasy authors, Danish fantasy authors this time around. Last time I didn't buy anything from Danish fantasy authors except one book by Kenneth Bjarnesen. This time I bought several, also from authors I've never read anything from before. And some I actually ordered the whole series, because the nice thing is that they are finished. They've completed their series now. They just released the latest one, and so you can actually get to dive into these series and not have to wait around to get the next one. But yeah, this was my final update. I'll see you later. Bye.
Hello, I'm home and back from the Fantasy Festival. I have black eyes. I'm extremely tired. So yeah. It is almost 5 p.m. and I came home like 20 minutes ago, I'd say. I was home at about a little past 4. And I wanted to show you the books that I purchased today. I went to a Vlogger event with two authors, and I really enjoyed what they had to say about their writing life, what they were writing about, and all of that just got me interested, and I wanted to read them, at least one of them. But then it turns out that both of those series was cheaper for me to buy all of them at once, almost, than just buying the one book. So let's start out with Mikkel, who was the male author in the clip. He has a 5-book long series, and they are relatively short. This is called The Girl from Fenmarken. This is an area, I guess. Fenmarken. Yeah, and it's the first in Anja Fablen. Don't question. And what I liked about this, what got me thinking I need this book, this series, at least checking out the first one, was because, I mean, it has elves, which is very normal in fantasy, but he also has dinosaurs, and there's something I know, that is that dinosaurs fascinates me, and there's not a lot of fantasy that takes dinosaurs into the mix, and so that's what made me want to grab it. And he also had such an interesting type of humor that I really appreciated. And the second one, no, that's the third one. The second one is the Demon's Web. Obviously these are all signed because I went around to talk to the authors afterwards. And then I have this one is because On Elf Roots, and it has a really nice dinosaur on the front. The fourth one called The Soul Thieves History or Story or something like that. And the last and fifth edition to it is called Fyrste, is also another word for a prince, I guess. So The Prince's Revenge. And it has a nice image of a T-Rex. So, or what looks like a T-Rex, I presume. Now Julie M. Day writes a little more bigger tomes, if you will. And I might say that for a tome double at one point, if that happens. It says it's leather-bound fantasy. And she wrote me a long message as well. It is called The Borders of Trefallas. And the first book is called The Harv's Legacy, I guess. Sometimes it's difficult just translating on commando. Actually, someone mentioned maybe I should be a translator, and then all of these books that I like, they'd be translated. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't think my vocabulary is good enough. So anyway, the next one, the second book is called The Shadows from the North. And these are also about elves. That's something that they had in common, but I think they might also have something to do with tigers, because otherwise, why are they on each and every cover? And the last and final one, it was sold out at the Fantasy Festival, but I was signed up to get a copy, so they will send it to me, because it was part of a book deal that you got all 3 books. And now that is complete. The series is complete, so I can read them all and not have to wait around for a long time to get the next one. The publishing house called The Wolf and the Owl is fantasy for adults, so I wanted to get some of theirs. Hopefully I will enjoy them. The first one is called the Swamp Baron's Journey, I think. Sumpbaron's Reise. I hate when I have to do this. It's the first book in To Ared's End, like that's the it's called. And the other one I got is this one, which I've also been recommended by Kirsten from Obsessed with Fantasy. This is in Death and Onwards, and I actually looked at this last year at the Fantasy Festival, and not sure if I wanted to get to it, but now I've decided, since I'm still interested in this and I still haven't bought it, I could just as well buy it on the festival, also because there was, like, the books were all cheaper than usually at the stores around. Then I went past this stand. It had a lot of, like, middle grade age, like, books, and I saw this cover. It just looked so funny and whimsical, and it's called The Smell Apothecary. It's like they find this secret basement that was an old apothecary with all of these different smells, and it's by Anne Ruhe, who is a German author, I believe. So it's one of the only Danish translated books that is not from a Danish author. The last thing I got was also a translated thing, but this is one I actually bought for my nephew, because there was at this stand a lot of picture books, and all the picture books were only 20 kroners, which is the equivalent of like $2 to $3. So it felt like that was really cheap for a picture book. And so I got that, and it's called The Real Christmas Tree by Patricia Todt, which is illustrated by Jarvis, and it is translated by Gry Kappel Jensen, who I've just recently finished a book by. And so it has all of these nice illustrations and not a lot of text, and my nephew adores looking through books. And has been doing that a lot, but I don't know if these pages are a little too flimsy for him yet, but maybe around Christmas it'll be okay. So I got this for him because I don't always seem to buy a lot of things for him, and I felt like buying it because that would make me happy if he starts to enjoy books as well, as much as I do. So yeah, so I'm really happy about the things that I bought, but I have counted it all, and I have gotten 27 books, and I have one book on the way, which I will show you when it comes. I was so close to also go and buy Grimm, the collection of the stories retold by Kenneth Bøgh Andersen and Benny Bødker, because I've already read it. I mean, I listened to it, and there were some of the stories that were really good, but I think that they would be even better on a reread, because not that the narrator of the book wasn't good, he was just not as good as Kenneth. Kenneth is a really good narrator of the stories, so every time I listen to him tell the story, I'm much more invested in listening to or reading the story. So I would like to try and get my hands on a copy, but before I went and bought it, I decided I need to go home before I buy a lot of more books. So we'll have to wait and see when I get around to that, because not long now, not super long, the second book in this series is going to be published with 10 new retold fairy tales by Grimm. And the thing is, it's not like they changed anything. It's not like a retelling of a fairy tale as we know it. It's as opposed to, they have a fairy tale they know, and then it make it something else, but they have the core elements. This is going back to the core of the actual first fantasy that was written down and translated so that we could understand it. That was a lot more morbid and dark than this, but it had a lot of holes. It's just like, for instance, with Hansel and Gretel. There's these two kids, they're from this poor family, and one day they were abandoned in the woods on their own, and then they found this pancake house, and about the old lady who was turned out to be a cannibal and all of that, wanting to eat them. But there's a lot of things that is missing from this, so that they took this story and just added to it, to the story, so that it was told and it was actually a full functioning story. And that is what I really enjoyed about it. And they did that really well with a lot of the stories. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to try and reread it, and would like to have my own copy of the first one, so I can also get the second one whenever it comes out. Yeah, so I got myself 27 books, and my dad's comment has just been, so you couldn't control yourself? Nope. I think that's pretty true. I mean, me and self-control when it comes to buying books, at the place where there's books all around me and they're all fantasy, that is not a thing you can say and be true. So yeah, really happy I went this time. I definitely bought more books this year than I did last year. And I'm happy with the books that I did buy. Now I just need to make room on my shelf for the books. So that is a project of mine. And now I'm going to be relaxing a little bit. But yeah, this was my final update from this Fantasy Festival vlog. This is going to be an exclusively vlog from this. But anyway,